Hi, welcome to the podcast. Chelsea are a dead team. That's it. Thanks for listening. All right. No, I'm joking.
Where did that come from?
I'm joking. Thank you. I'm just getting better. I'm just so good now. But yeah, Chelsea are a dead team. I hope you know, Ewan. Like you guys, you're terrible. You're really bad. It's quite fun to watch now. I know we were slating my club now, but like obviously it's football. So
no, it's fine. I understand that because you
understand you're a dead team. You understand you're a dead team. Yeah.
No, I fully understand.
You understand you're a dead team
because you realise how bad your team is. You've had to pass on.
How? My youth prospect, number 10, who's only played like 3 Premier League games, has got more assists than your number 10 you spent £50 million on. £70 million, sorry. Oh, okay then. All right, cool. Silence, yeah? That's what I thought. Thanks.
How you
Sam,
doing
your
down
team's
there?
pretty good. All right, no, they're not.
How you doing down there?
3 points off you. 3 points behind you.
Oh, what is that?
Sorry?
3 points?
3 points.
I see
3
3
points behind
points.
you. Joint 4.
Still 3 points.
Where we belong. 3 points. Fam, you're going to drop 3 points in like 3 days. Don't start.
In 3 days?
Don't start.
That'd be pretty impressive considering we don't have a game in 3 days.
Guy.
But,
Oh, my God.
How about we actually talk about the game? I think
basically, Man City was just better than them. To be fair, right, your game is just to dribble the ball at all times, and Man City, every time you got the ball, there was like 7 people in the box every single time. It was so funny. What could you do, really?
I don't really have anything to comment on it, to be pretty honest.
I think this was probably Man City's best performance of the season.
Oh, it was so good. They played so well.
Yeah,
Gundogan's goal was quality.
This is like back to prime Pep Man City. Like just controlling the whole game, almost untouchable in possession. Gundogan, De Bruyne and Foden in the midfield absolutely dominated the game. Foden was amazing. Goal and assist for him. And
Foden's going to start every week now, really, surely.
Yeah,
he's going to be knocking on the door.
Yeah, he's been getting more and more game time this season. I think we all kind of expected that he was going to come in and instantly just replace David Silva this season. It hasn't quite been like that. He's been a bit more in and out than I think some people expected. But based on his recent performances, you can't really justify leaving him out of the team anymore.
I bet you will do, though.
Probably. Fernandinho and Cam. But I mean, he's got to be one of the top, probably one of the top 3 prospects in the league at the moment.
Behind Saka and Smith Rowe, yeah? All right, cool. Just going to sit down.
Can we leave the Arsenal talk for a bit later? Okay.
Yeah. We'll leave that because say the best till last, right?
Fine.
Questionable.
Yeah, I mean, Man City played really well. Defensively, they were really strong. The only time they really caught off was when, obviously, Chelsea scored. They took that chance quite well, I have to say. Kai Havertz made a really good ball into the box and cut to the door with a great finish. But other than that, Man City, again, like you said, they were just untouchable, unbreakable. I just couldn't believe how quickly they broke, like from going straight from 7 at the back to, that counter-attack with Sterling on, where De Bruyne scored. Like,
I mean, that was, if in terms of the actual original counter, it was a dreadful counter-attack.
Why?
Why? Because we had about 6 players in the box by the time Sterling took his first shot. So in terms of the original counter-attack,
you have to credit Kante for that, though, because obviously he was on him for quite a while. And then his sort of like, the way he prevented him from shooting and forced him outside of like a good shooting area was great. And there's nothing he could have really done after that because he's taken a shot.
There's a replay of all the Chelsea players, all the Man City players. There's one person busting a gut to get back for Chelsea, and that's Zuma. Everyone else is just jogging back like it's just...
was it Zuma behind him? I thought it was Kante. Either way, you have to credit him.
Kante was the one with him, but like behind that, every other Chelsea player was jogging back. Kovacic was jogging back. Ziyech should have been one of the first players back in the box because of how far back he was already. But it was Zuma that was up there for the free kick, that was storming back, that eventually got back to put out like a semi-block onto Sterling's first attempt of going to shoot. And then obviously he shot the second time around and hit the post. But I think
that's the problem. They weren't fighting for you. They weren't fighting for the club. I think the head started to drop by the time the second goal had gone in so quickly after the first. They just thought, well, this is over now. We're getting bad. And to be honest, you kind of were at that point, like possession-wise, goal-scoring-wise.
We looked confident the
chances-wise.
first 10 minutes, and then it just all went downhill from there.
Yeah, because City hadn't warmed up. The time City had warmed up, it was peak. Like, it was over for you guys. But you tried. You did try.
I mean, I know it was a dreadful performance from Chelsea, but a 3-1 against a very, very good City side isn't actually...
No,
bad
don't
as
go there
people.
because
Don't go there.
Because you spent the amount of money you have done in order to contend with clubs like Manchester City. That's the whole point. You've done it, and the fact you still haven't.
Yeah,
I know it's only been one season,
with
but the fact you weren't even really close to them. Even the amount of money you spent and the amount of changes you've made, you don't look any better than you did with Eden
No,
Hazard.
but we're also in an out of form patch.
Yeah, but you can't really
but every
afford to
club
have that
has.
when you yeah. But at the same point, you're the only club who spent the money you have. We've been through a rough patch at Arsenal because we only signed one player and he's injured.
But I mean, you're just gonna come back with something else. But people we spent what near on 200 mil was it this season?
50.
250 is it? Well,
Yeah.
we haven't spent for two transfer windows before that.
Even then, I mean, come on, like
So-
250 is more than most clubs spend in 2 or 3 transfer windows. Arsenal don't spend that much money.
Yeah, but
We haven't
that's
spent 250.
because you're a small club mentality.
Our owners are just as rich. They're just not as good as our owners. But I mean, even Man City, I don't think they spent that much money since then.
No, because
Surely
they've got
not.
a complete team.
Yeah,
I
but that's
mean,
what you're trying to do.
what are you gonna add to it?
You spent 250 million for at least a complete attack, and you haven't even done that. So
I mean,
that
I think
isn't-
it's harsh that people are having a go at our attack. We've got Pulisic that I thought played pretty well and looked like a danger man.
I think the thing is
fair
that we have
enough.
no sympathy for you
Fair
because we don't
enough.
like Chelsea.
Werner, fair enough. He didn't really do much, but he looked a lot more comfortable in the position he was than he has done before. Ziyech has literally just came back from injury. But I think our problem was Azpilicueta that just got sold every time and looked like he was non-existent, which is why we have Reece James there, but he's injured at the minute. And our midfields were just pathetic. And the fact that it took Billy Gilmore to come onto the pitch to make it somewhat stable really goes to show how shocking it was.
Well, at
There's no
least
fight.
it's a small positive that once again you had a couple of youngsters come off the bench and provide a bit of a bright spark. You obviously just mentioned Billy Gilmore, who played. Is that his first Chelsea game since coming back from injury? I'm not sure. Maybe
It's his longest. I think it's the longest he's played for us since he's been back.
Yeah, so he's got very little minutes in the last year, and he's come back and he's played pretty well. And also Hudson-Odoi for the second game in a row has come off the bench and had a big impact. He got an assist against. He got a goal here against Man City.
Yeah, he's on another level at the minute. I mean, last game, but I mean we lost. Who did we lose to? I'm losing count now.
Us.
Was it Arsenal the last game?
Yeah.
Well, it was Hudson-Odoi that was just spraying balls from left, right, and centre with the outside the foot spine.
You got to keep passing that game. He passed it to whoever made the assist for Tammy Abraham's goal.
No, he got the assist for Tammy Abraham's goal.
Did he?
Yeah.
I thought. Oh, okay. Maybe they got the key pass. But yeah, I mean, he made a difference in that game. Got the goal.
I just his confidence is, and I didn't quite get why. This probably sounds stupid, but I'd have rather had Hudson-Odoi on the pitch and left Ziyech out for this game to make sure that he comes back fully fit. Because Hudson-Odoi could have done a job there easily. I reckon we'd be fine.
Well, given his showing off the bench, we know he could have.
So Lampard's got a problem with rushing players back. A massive problem with rushing players back.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of understandable. Like when you've had so many injury problems and you've got such a crucial attacker coming back, you want to use them in such an important game, and we've seen it.
It was the Villa
plenty
game, by the
times
way,
before
not the
with
Arsenal game.
We've seen it plenty of times before with Kane at Spurs. He gets rushed back pretty much every year. But it is an issue. Like even if it's a crucial game, and you think we need this guy back for us to perform well, it might be better for you in the long term to let them just recover for a little while longer, rest, and come back fully fit and firing, so that they can have a bigger impact in the long run.
I mean, we did.
Yeah,
it
but
with,
everyone does it.
We did it with Kanté last season.
We did it with Thomas
Yeah.
Partey as well for the North London derby, and look what happened with that.
Yeah, and I'm
A
sure.
lot of teams do it.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Wolves do it with half of our players who are out injured right now.
But-
So it's
For whatever reason, we
It
don't
just-
know why.
yeah,
But considering the last 2 years, Chelsea have struggled massively with injuries. I mean, probably our most important player has been constantly in and out of injuries in Pulisic because he's been rushed back. It's kind of
That's
we're not
you got to
going to pay attention to the facts.
sort it out. You have had the most injuries probably in any Premier League team ever, or in the season. Sorry.
I mean, granted, we have got a
and
big
it's-
squad, so. But
that would make you think you'd have less injury problems because you've got such a big team. You don't need to. I think it's about the density of quality in your squad. You don't have like a huge bulk of world class or quality players in your team that are all in the same wavelength. You have a
No,
couple.
I think the problem is the positions that it's the position the places we get most injuries in are the positions that we don't have that many players in, like wingers. We have 3 wingers in total, so we're getting problems there. Right back and left back, we don't exactly have top quality players. So I mean, for example, Aspilicueta looked like he hadn't played for years today, and because Reece James is our only decent right back. If Chilwell was out injured, we'd be in. Well, we've already seen what happens when Chilwell's not playing.
Yeah.
We've got Alonso and Emerson, which is a big problem. Kante, when he's injured, we have a replacement of Jorginho, which isn't the style of play we want to play. Luckily, last season we were able to play Billy Gilmore, and he played fantastically until the football was stopped, and then got injured. So we're in a bit of a. We've got a massive squad, but not a replaceable squad type, if you know what I mean. A replaceable starting 11.
I think the thing is as well that we're not acknowledging is that Fat Frank isn't a good manager. Is he?
What?
Do you really think he's a good manager now?
I mean, I don't think it's
as a
bad. I mean, he
coach?
still hasn't. He hasn't got the team. I think he's done incredibly well with what the team he had last season. This season, he's picked players that some of them came on and done well. I mean, Ziyech has been decent for us. Werner is an interesting one, and Havertz. But look, he's brought in Mendy. He's been amazing for us.
Didn't do very well today though.
I mean, there wasn't much he could have done, to be honest with you. One of them was bottom corner. One of them was quick right at him. And the last one, there was bodies in the way and it was bottom corner again. There's not much you can really ask for him to do there. He pulled off a ridiculously good save at one point. So I don't think you can pass the blame onto Mendy there at all. I don't think he did anything wrong. Thiago Silva is another great signing we've made that was to do with Lampard, Chilwell. I think some of the signings that we've made have really improved our team. But,
and you have to credit him with bringing through all the young players who've become so crucial. Reece James, obviously, as you said, he's now your only good right back, and he's one of the best in the league. And Mason Mount and Billy Gilmore, and most other managers wouldn't have had. I mean, obviously, he was in some ways forced into it by the transfer ban, but most managers wouldn't have shown the amount of faith that he has in some of the young players.
Yeah,
and obviously, he's benefited from having access to one of the best youth academies in the world, but he's still done very well to develop those players in the way that he has.
I don't think you can turn around and say Lampard's a bad manager at all. He took us to the final. He got his Champions
And
League
you
football.
lost to another manager who was better. Can we? Okay, honestly, right? No. Listen to me. Listen. Are you listening? Are you listening now?
Sounds better.
Are you listening? Are you listening? Just answer. Just say. Are you listening?
I am listening. Yeah.
Do you believe
Yes, I
Fat
do believe.
Frank is a better manager?
Flat Frank, did you just call him?
Fat Frank. Do you believe he's a better manager than Mikel Arteta?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
I 100% do.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most deluded Chelsea fan on the Active Podcast.
No, I
is
think
you and
most people
Jake.
would say that Frank Lampard's a better manager than Arteta.
He can't be.
What do you mean
He
he
can't
can't
be.
be?
He can't be.
Right, answer me this
'cause he
question. Has Frank Lampard
he
been in a
lost
relegation battle?
in a big final?
Has Frank
We're not in
Lampard...
no
were
one
you?
honestly believed you in a relegation battle. We really weren't. It's just a joke.
You were
We're
in a
literally
relegation-
3 points.
No, you were in a relegation battle.
Oh my days. Are we 3 points behind you?
Yeah, but were you in a relegation battle?
Because we're 3 points behind you. We literally needed 3 wins. We're 3 points behind you because you drop points.
But were you in a
You drop
relegation
points
battle?
all the time.
Were you
We're
in a
not anymore.
relegation? No, but were you? But were you?
Listen. But did you lose the FA Cup final?
No, you're not
And
listening to
who
me.
did you lose it? But who did you lose it to?
We lost it to Arsenal.
Oh, Mikel
But were you in a
Arteta. But you don't think he's a better manager than him?
No, he's not.
Oh,
Get out of it.
Okay.
He's not a better manager than Lampard.
Let me just list the things off. We beat you in the FA Cup final. Yeah. We beat you at your own yard. Yeah.
Yeah.
You spent 5 times the amount of money as us, and you're only 3 points above us. And you think Frank's
shall I
a better
list off
manager?
some stuff as well? Shall I list off some stuff? Did you get Champions League football? Did you get Champions League football? Could he make transfers in that season?
This guy.
Yes, he could.
Oh,
did you finish above us in
shocking.
that season?
I can't believe this guy.
No.
Honestly, asking all these questions that I don't really care about the answers to.
Were you in a relegation battle? Yes, you were.
You disappoint me, bro.
Are you below us in the league? Yes, you are.
You disappoint me, bro. I'm
so
disappointed.
I don't want to hit Arteta's a better manager.
In you. He is. Oh my days.
Get off it.
Can we move on now? Because I'm just getting upset. How can you honestly get on the podcast and say this?
I think we may as well just leave it here because it's not going anywhere.
Wait, no, Sam. This is a 3-man podcast. Let me just. This is 3 of us here. Who do you think is a better manager?
I don't know. I have no idea who's a better manager because both of them have shown a lot of promise at times. Like in Lampard's first season, he did well with a team that he couldn't make any transfers.
Yeah, but so did Chris Wilder, and now he has no points in the Premier League.
Yeah, but Chris Wilder's a very good manager as well, I think. And Arteta did very well when he first came in his first half season. He improved you a lot from where you were under Emery, and he showed a clear philosophy. So there's kind of positives and from both managers, and there's also been plenty of negatives this season. And obviously Chelsea spent a lot more, but Arsenal have been much, much worse for a lot of this season. But now they're coming back and they look better. So I feel like right now it's impossible to definitively say who's a better manager because we haven't. Lampard's a year and a half into a Premier League job. Arteta's just over a year into his first ever managerial role. So I think it's going to be a little while longer before you can definitively say this guy's a better manager than this guy. Maybe at the end of the season we'll have a better sense of it. But like right now we're only halfway through. A heck of a lot could happen in January and beyond. So I don't know. I feel like revisiting this in June might be a better way to answer that question.
When Chelsea are above, yeah, sound.
I don't know. You're deluded, bro. You're so deluded.
Okay, listen. Let's now talk as much as it's going to be a bit annoying.
The window's hot in here.
Let's talk a bit about Arsenal and their performance against West Brom because it was very
because
good.
We can beat them.
And it was.
Yeah, we know how to do that.
Can I just say something?
It was much more reminiscent of Arsenal a few years ago than the more recent years.
So good. Do you know what, Sam? No, you can't say anything. What? Do you know? Nah, go on, bro. Go on.
No, I think that's the first time I've ever seen a football match where there's like actual snow lying on the ground.
Because they don't have heated pitches there.
Yeah,
it was so weird. Like it was so bizarre.
It's so clear that they're just a championship side, aren't they, West Brom? They are. Because how do you not have heated pitches in the Premier League?
It was like going back to like FIFA 11 when you used to be able to play on the
FIFA 11.
It was weird. It was.
Can you?
Yeah.
Is this?
Career mode, don't play that.
Still get snowy pitches, but let's leave FIFA there.
Yeah. We don't like FIFA.
No.
It was such a good game. Oh my days. Do you know, we have such a bad track record with Big Sam. We haven't beaten a Big Sam team in like 15 years. So
yeah, but this is different, Big Sam. This is Agent Allardyce. He's secretly working for Wolves to get the Baggies relegated. That's his job.
He's a local lad. He's a local lad.
He grew up a Wolves fan and he's doing his proper job.
No, it's a record-breaking season for Arsenal. Look at the amount of times they've broken. The fact that the amount of teams that have beaten them at the Emirates in so many years.
God, this guy.
The fact
Did you not get slapped up twice in a row when you're on the yard?
No, okay, I'm just saying that you're breaking a lot of records, aren't you?
Thank you. I wasn't finished. So, obviously, there was Kieran Tierney. Oh my. The way he mugged off Furlong. I know it's only Furlong, but like the little. And then he just. Oh, just so good. And then I think the thing that excited me the most exciting thing I saw was the Saka goal. Classic Wenger ball. It's still there.
That was a nice goal.
It just sits there like a little ghost, just a presence. in the dressing room in Hale End,
it is
in
only
London Colney. Arsene Wenger, just like whispering. And it was like when you saw them just do the little pass and move, like classic. It reminds me of like the Norwich goal we scored, the famous Wilshere goal.
Yeah.
Where they just pass and move, get in the position. The defenders are like, huh? What's going on? And then there's three of them behind you, and the Smith Rowe's like, got him. And then he does a little slide draw pass, and seconds like, tap in. It's what we do. We used to be so good at just tapping it in, pass through. Defenders are oblivious, and even when you could play 7 at the back, and you still wouldn't be able to stop classic Wenger ball. And it was just so good.
I think a better team would have stopped that. It wasn't. Like...
It's difficult to say, isn't it? Because if you had Van Dijk, if you had a Van Dijk at the back, you'd probably see the passes and the moves coming.
Top 6, that wouldn't happen.
Okay, well, you wouldn't know anything about beating top 6, would you? So I don't want to hear from you. It was just such a good goal. Like, honestly, like even some of the higher teams we've done Wenger ball goals from. So clearly we have an idea, and maybe, I don't know, if Arteta did a cheeky little Zoom call before to Big Papa Weng. I'd love to see him back at the club, even in like a board role, just to see him there. It was just.
I don't think he wants to go back with the way you lot treated him.
Nah, he said he'd come back any day. We'd have him back. He knows where we stand. We all love Wenger. I wasn't a Wenger out kid, but I was also like 13 when it happened. So
absolutely disgraceful.
Listen, there just need to be things that need to be changed, and unfortunately, the option was Wenger or the board. We have no control over the board, so it had to be Wenger. But let's not talk about Arsenal history, because you don't have any history. Yeah. All right. Thank you. It was just that game was just so good. It was the Tierney Lacazette goal. So Tierney whipped it into Lacazette and he kicked it.
That was disgraceful. The fact that got through is disgraceful.
I mean, West Brom were terrible in defence. They were parking the bus as well. They were basically playing 5 at the back because they had 4 at the back in a CDM. But Furlong was having a stinker. Furlong was terrible. He could not handle Kieran Tierney at all. And it just shows Kieran Tierney's quality. Like, I believe, honestly.
No, that doesn't make sense.
I do honestly believe
West Brom have a dreadful defence. The way that he got past a West Brom defender.
You can't deny that. You can't deny
doesn't
Kieran
make
Tierney
sense.
is up there, either second or third as one of the left backs in the league. 100%. There's not many left backs in the league that are good anyway.
He's better at attacking than defending. I wouldn't say he's a class at defending.
No, I completely disagree, because he can play as a third centre back. Okay then.
No, he's been sent a couple times.
Because he plays as a centre back for Scotland, and he played as a centre back for us as well, which is why we didn't include him in our 11.
Can I just say, Scotland are starting to build up a pretty decent team.
They actually are. Billy Gilmore. They've got Billy Gilmore, Robert. Yeah. They look. Oh yeah, McTominay as well. They actually do look pretty good. It's kind of scary. They've qualified for the Euros. So.
And we're in their group. We're definitely missing some players.
Oh well, yeah, they could do this like a decent striker. McGinn as well in that midfield.
Robertson.
Oh yeah, McGinn. He's quality. Yeah.
We're forgetting their captain Robertson.
We already said Robertson. You just want.
Did you?
Oh. Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing as well, because they're both left backs. That's what I mean. Like Tierney will usually play centre back, or like if they do like a back 3.
Nah, McTominay plays centre back, doesn't he?
McTominay? Yeah, like a back 3.
They often have them both in centre back because they have to fit Tierney in somewhere, and Robertson's kind of got that left back position on lock, so Tierney goes left centre back in a 3.
McSauce they do a 3 because McSauce can play in like a midfield 3, black 3. It's just so weird. The guy can play anywhere in the midfield, including centre back. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he could do a decent job up front as well. To be honest, it's crazy.
I mean, the way you can strike a ball. No,
Robertson. Oh. Yeah. Like last season was against City, you're right, Sam. Like when he did that strike. Oh, disgusting.
Yeah.
Haven't we got them in the group stage?
Yeah.
Sam literally just said this.
Mate, I'm lagging. I don't know what's going on.
Nice.
We lost to flipping City. I'm not with it today.
Yeah, you're depressed. I'm living my best life. Let's talk about your club, Sam, because obviously you threw away. I don't know how you did it, to be honest. I know
exactly how it happened.
Go on.
And it happened because we were 3-1 up, although we were a bit lucky to be 3-1 up. Let's have it right. Based on the play in the first half, we didn't deserve to be 3-1 up. I'd say 2-1 would have been a more fair reflection of the first half. And then in the second half, we decided to sit back and allow Brighton, who are a good attacking team, to attack us. When we
are they a good attacking team?
Yes, they are. They're not necessarily a good finishing team, but in terms of creating chances, they're one of the best. They're actually up there.
I was going to say, they just can't score. Yeah, you let them score 3.
Connolly has such a good season last season. Like he looks really good. And he was only like 20 or 21. And for his age, he was scoring.
But he looks like a decent young striker for sure. He works really hard and he's a nightmare to deal with. And he's
slowed down now though. He hasn't scored many.
But like I said, he's struggled with injuries. So he went off again at half time with another knee injury. It looked like, so that'll be a worry for Graham Potter. But I mean, they are a good attacking team. So like I said, we should not have allowed them to control the game like we did in the second half. And then we threw on another centre back and went to a 5 at the back. Which whenever we do that, it doesn't work. Whenever we throw on an extra centre back, it always seems to end in disaster. I remember all the way going back to our FA Cup semi-final defeat against Watford, where we were winning that game, and then we threw on an extra centre back. We invited all the pressure, and they took advantage in it, and they came back and beat us. That was one of the worst days of my life. And
it's the worst day of your life, bro.
It was. Imagine if we got to an FA Cup final.
You're an Arsenal fan.
It was our first season back in the Prem since 2011, and we could have been in an FA Cup final. And I got tickets to Wembley, and we were having a great time. We were 2-0 up, and then it all went disastrously wrong.
That's when Jimenez put on the mask as well, right?
Yeah.
Just
at that point when Jimenez scored a beautiful goal and put that mask on, that was like the peak of my time as a Wolves fan, and then it all just went downhill.
Sucks to be a Wolves fan.
We were in League One. Like,
he hasn't been in the Premier League long enough to have hardships like us humans.
Yeah. Anyway, moving back to this game, defensively we looked really uncharacteristically sloppy. I mean, obviously in a 4 at the back, we've not been as strong defensively as we've been known for in the past, but the problem was when we threw on an extra centre back, we didn't get better defensively. We arguably got worse.
You got worse, yeah, you did.
And there was a couple of just stupid moments, like things that should have been saved, the interceptions that should have been made that we usually would make, and against Man United when Romain Saiss was pretty immense, and then everything's just gone out the window apparently, and no one knows how to position or anything. And going forward, the first half we were good, and if we just built on that, we could have got more goals, and we could have just controlled the game and got a good victory away against a decent team. But this is something that Nuno's done before, and it's like when we have a lead, we don't have to sit back and just try and defend it for our lives. We're not a relegation candidate team. We're a mid-table up. We're like a lower top half table team. We should be able to control games and just win comfortably, but we just seem unable to see them out. It's really frustrating.
I mean, ideally, you do want to be contending for Europa League now, don't you? And so this kind of defeat is going to really hurt that.
They've done it once before, so
yeah. I mean,
the target.
We've definitely got some issues that are out of our control. We've got 6 players who would probably be starting out injured at the moment. A couple of them with serious long-term injuries, like Jimenez and Johnny, and Bolly's been out for a few weeks. Then Donker's been out for a couple of weeks. Now Marcel is out. And Podence is out.
This is how it feels.
Yeah. But did you see our bench against Brighton? There were only 3 players. There were only 4 players, 3 outfield players on our bench that had played for us before. It's ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
It was just our under-21s team.
Shocking.
And
don't you to see at school.
You don't. That's the problem, though. This has always been said that Nuno doesn't. doesn't like a big team, does he? He likes a small team that can constantly play. And as soon as you get hit by injuries, it's not going to go well for you.
And this was the worst season for that because obviously the league's so compact at the moment because of COVID. It's like you can't have a small squad. You need reserves, which is why I think Man City are going to thrive this season. And if they win their games in hand, they will be top of the league, joint with City and with United and Liverpool because they were such a big team.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been all right for us before. It was even all right when we were in the Europa League. We managed to handle having a small squad, and we didn't really have any issues with it. We had 1 or 2 injuries, but nothing major. And now all of a sudden we've been struck by everything at once, and everything seems to just come crashing down a bit. So, I mean, Nuno has openly said in press conferences that we're going to be signing players in January. We're certainly going to get in a striker. I wouldn't be surprised if we bring in depth in other areas as well, maybe in central midfield. We've been linked to Renato Sanchez and a couple of other players. And yeah, we definitely need to get moving on that front because we spent very little in the summer. We didn't, other than Fabio Silva, we didn't, even including Fabio Silva, we didn't really sign anyone who was intended to be a first team starter. Obviously, Fabio's been forced into the first team by injury, but
it was a big signing, though. It wasn't cheap.
He was a big signing, yeah, but he wasn't someone who was intended to come in and start.
No, but he wasn't a cheap player. He's not a bench warmer.
Yeah, no, he's not.
What you should have said is you didn't buy a lot of players rather than you spent money.
He's come in as a backup for now, who will be a starter in 2 or 3 years, and instead he's been forced into the starting lineup immediately when he's physically not ready to play at this level. Even if he's, technically he's very talented, but he's obviously off the pace physically. He's not. He uses his body well, but he doesn't have the strength for that to actually work. So, in a couple of years he'll be great, I hope. But it's unfortunate for him.
Let me ask you some actually.
This hasn't. This is how it is right now.
So it's about to go into transfers. Let me ask you, right? Diego Costa, would you?
Well, this was one of the rumours that I was gonna talk about a bit, so we might as well get into that now.
Sorry, bro.
Nah, this is a big talking point. So yeah, let's move into the transfers, and we'll start with Diego Costa to Wolves because obviously his contract's been terminated at Atletico Madrid, so he's officially on the market for free. And
I think it'd be a good move.
I would take him. As long as let's say a year contract, maybe 2-year contract. His wages will probably be pretty big, particularly considering he's on a free transfer. So that's something to worry about. And he is pretty injury prone at this point in his career. He's struggled for form and fitness in his last couple of years since he left Chelsea. I think actually that 6-month break that he had between being forced out of Chelsea and actually leaving to move to Atletico Madrid, that really had a pretty bad impact on his fitness, I think. He's never quite been the same.
I mean, in 61 appearances for Atletico, he's only scored 12 goals.
Yeah, it's not a great record.
Really?
Yeah.
I do think maybe he would suit our system slightly better in that with
physicality.
Yeah, I mean his physicality obviously is something we desperately need. But also with Atletico, for most of the time, he was kind of expected to do everything. Their wingers and their midfield were very poor the last couple of years at supporting the attack, and their attack it's never been amazing, their attack, but the last couple of years it really went off after they sold Griezmann, and it's been kind of revitalised this year, but Costa needs players to feed off, and I think if he came into the team with Neto and with Podence and with Neves and Adama, I think he could maybe do pretty well as long as he can keep his fitness going, and his aggressive mentality certainly works with the way that we play. The problem obviously comes when Jimenez returns from injury, hopefully sooner than it looks like, but it may not be.
I don't think it'll be back till the end of the season.
I think that's a pretty likely possibility.
Why though? Is he still dealing with
head injury?
He fractured his skull. Nobody really knows how long that how long the footballer takes to recover from that. It's so rare that it happens.
Well, it's a career-ending injury.
Yeah, it can be, and it has ended careers before.
I suppose it still could be. I mean, he could come back, not head a balls, and as in not want to head a balls and just not be the same player.
That Petr helmet.
Well, you can't wear a helmet like that to header a ball. It'd be like last year's Zuma headers, though. They'll go flying everywhere.
Like kicking a rugby ball.
It would be, which is a big part of his game. So it could still be career ending.
Yeah. I really, really hope not, because
I don't think anyone. Watching him play, I'm not. Wait, let me get this right. As a non-Wolves fan, watching him play is quite interesting, and how powerful he can be.
He's he's a very unique player in the way he holds the ball up, and he's much more technically gifted than maybe you'd assume. Some of his passing is excellent, but obviously there's also that physical presence, and he just offers so much. He's such a well-rounded player. Hopefully Diego Costa can come in and be similar to that, because at his peak at Chelsea, he was very much like that. His whole play was outstanding. He played off hit players like Eden Hazard and was able to not only score a lot of goals but help create a lot of goals as well.
And it's also having someone with such a big winning mentality. He's a massive figure in the changing rooms to have at Wolves, even if he's only there for a bit. And I mean, you've got Fabio Silva that can learn a lot from Diego Costa as well.
Exactly. He'd be such a good player to learn from.
So I
and
think
he speaks Portuguese as well, because he's technically Brazilian, so I guess that helps.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot that they can learn off Diego Costa, and he's an animal.
He is an animal. I would absolutely love to see Costa, Sace, Marçal all come out onto the same pitch, just absolutely batter everybody. It'd be great. Kind of reminds me of earlier in the season. There was a picture that went round from Inter Milan of Arturo Vidal and Raja Nainggolan both coming off the bench for Inter Milan.
Yeah.
And it's just like, imagine seeing that on.
It's like two pit bulls coming out
on the pitch. You're like, not these two. It's an absolute nightmare. But yeah, when the rumour for Diego Costa initially came round, over a year ago now, I was really not on board. But I've come around to it a bit, particularly since obviously Raul's been injured. It's become a lot more necessary for us to sign a striker, so I'm more on board with it now than I was. I think there would maybe be better options, but at the same time, for a free transfer, 1 or 2 year contracts, and he's someone who Fabio could learn from a lot, and while Raul's out injured, he could hopefully contribute quite a bit. So yeah, I think overall it'd be a pretty decent signing.
Yeah.
Would you have had him over Hulk?
Over Hulk?
Yeah, there was rumours of Hulk, wasn't there? Like, not too long ago.
I mean, for just the factor of having Hulk at the team, that would be something. But
wouldn't mind Hulk, to be honest, in the Prem.
Considering Hulk has never actually played in a top 5 European league.
Has he not?
No.
Ever?
He's played in Portugal,
China.
He's played in Russia, he's played in China.
It was around the time. Yeah, he moved to China, same with Oscar from Chelsea to China, because obviously China were trying to make it like the next Premier League type thing, the next Super League. But then there was loads of restrictions on. I don't know what the restrictions were exactly.
They came recently with the wage ban.
It might be something like that, which basically.
And they also put a rule in place that all the Chinese clubs, however much they spent, they also had to match that with financing of infrastructure in the league or something. So if they spent 50 million on a player, they also had to put 50 million into like stadiums and stuff like that. So I think that really put off some of the clubs that was paying ridiculous amounts of money to bring in these kind of players.
Which is quite annoying because we lost quite a few good players. I mean, Oscar was really young when he moved over there. Yeah,
he was like 23, wasn't he? It was like he could have been a top player in Europe for years, but he
turned down loads of different places.
Carrasco was the same as well. Like I know.
But Carrasco's kind of been a bit of a surprise because he's come. It was so weird. I think there was a bit of dodgy dealing in the way that he went to a Chinese club that is owned by the same people who own Atletico. Yeah, and now he's come back and he's actually playing really well.
He is.
Don't think anybody expected that, but he's been much better than expected.
I mean, Oscar says that he's playing better than he ever did before while he's been playing in China.
Yeah, but I mean...
But nobody cares because he's in China.
Yeah, exactly.
He could have been doing that for Chelsea or
do you know what I mean?
I'd take Oscar back any day of the week.
You don't need him now, though.
He was one of my favourite players I've ever seen watch.
Well, we've talked about Wolves. Ewan, how does your club manage to plan to fix your dead team?
Well, there is I said in the last podcast, there is a massive talking point around Haaland.
Yeah.
Which
you don't need him, though. Why do you talk about him when you don't need him?
I mean, we need goals.
Yeah, but you just spent 50 mil on Werner. You've already got Tammy Abraham. You've got Giroud probably till the end of the season. I can't see Dortmund giving you Haaland in January either because they're going for a real push for the league.
I don't think it'll happen, but it's quite a big talking point.
Well, if Chelsea pay the release clause, then there's not much.
What's his release clause?
It's about 60 million, I think.
Yeah, 67.
Bargain, really. Think about
that.
That
is actually pretty good for Haaland.
Yeah. But that was why he went to Dortmund over Man United because Man United didn't want to put that release clause in.
Yeah,
because they would have been for good.
Yeah.
So it is. I mean, so the two people. I mean, for some reason, there's talks that Man United have now given up on Jadon Sancho, but are going to go for Haaland instead. Don't quite understand how that's going to work. If they can't afford Sancho, how are they going to afford?
Because they're going to afford 67 million, but Sancho was like 120.
Was he? I don't think.
Yeah, he was.
That's what they asked for, and United said they're not paying that, and then Bolton were like, "All right, so yeah."
Fair enough. But I mean, I see people say he won't go for Man United just because of his dad thing. I mean, I'm sure if the money's there, he'll go.
I reckon if Man United came in for him and they gave him the money he wanted, he'd probably go for it.
It's Mino as well, isn't it? His agent. So
yeah,
I could see.
Yeah. So
although I don't think United like Mino anymore after the whole Pogba situation.
Well, there is that as well. So I mean, we've had talks. We've had talks with it, but apparently had talks with his agent over both Haaland and another one that's going to be on a. I think he's on a free.
Don't
Donnarumma.
Oh, that's big. If you got Donnarumma,
that's certainly more realistic, I think, than Haaland in position of need. Even though Mendy has been good this season, he is like. No, he's not old for a goalkeeper, but he's not like particularly young, and he's also not like a world class keeper. So bringing in someone like Donnarumma,
when I heard it originally, I was kind of like, hold on a second, we've just bought a goalkeeper, but we haven't spent big on that goalkeeper, and we definitely didn't buy that goalkeeper to be our number one. It was kind of just a quick
stopgap.
A quick fix.
Which. I honestly don't think if we can sell Kepa for any price, to be brutally honest, I think he'll go. Czech is only there for precautionary reasons. I don't think he'll play for us. It's just in case. Caballero, there's talks of him going, but he's still not a top keeper. And then if we have Mendy and Donnarumma,
that's two very good goalkeepers to have.
His contract's up at the end of the season.
You mentioned his contract is expiring soon, but AC Milan right now are the best team in Italy, and they are top of the league for the first time. They're challenging for a league title for the first time in nearly a decade. It looks very much like Juventus's dominance is going to be ended, whether it's by AC Milan or Inter Milan. They're the two teams right at the top right now, and the question remains. For one thing, will Donnarumma, who's a boyhood AC Milan fan, will he want to leave halfway through a season where they could win the league? I doubt it.
He wants to be paid, doesn't he? That's the whole point.
I mean, the thing is,
trying to get that check.
There's two problems here for AC Milan. They can either sell him in January, right, which means they'll get a decent amount of money for him, not as much as they could because obviously he's at the end of his contract, and then potentially. Well, not lose, but need to find a keeper to keep them at the top of the league, or they lose a keeper on a free transfer in the summer. because
Well, I wonder whether AC Milan will think we won't sell him now, and we'll see if we can win the league, and hopefully, if we win the league, that'll convince him to stay.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good way to convince someone to stay at the club if you win the league.
Oh, I don't know whether I can see him staying. I think he wants to go.
Yeah, because you want to maintain dominance. You're going to go to Chelsea and play Europa League.
Like. But they could also say, if you stay, they could also say to him in January, sign a new contract now with a release clause in it for next summer.
Yeah.
See out the league season. We can try and win the league, and then if you still want to go in the summer, there's this release clause that is affordable. Let's say 50, 60 million. And, you can leave as the first title-winning AC Milan keeper in nearly 10 years.
Mm.
And you can go to a dead team like Chelsea. I think he'll love that, honestly. Like, I don't see it. Like, if you're going from a league where you've won it and you win the Champions League to a team that's probably going to get knocked out of the Champions League the next season in the group stage, I just don't know why you want to do it.
It does also depend on whether Chelsea can get Champions League football.
I mean, at the end of the day, Chelsea are a Champions League team.
At the moment,
get it this.
Currently,
in the past, in terms of teams that are in like the last say 10, 15 years that teams have been in the Champions League, Chelsea are up there, right? It's a Premier League. You can't deny the fact that players want to go to the Premier League. He's not being paid the money he wants, right? So I don't.
Not every player wants to go to the Prem though. Some players just want to live luxury. They don't want to have to deal with all that hard stuff. They're familiar with it.
Most people do.
He's Italian. His family's in Italian. He's an AC faithful. He loves AC Milan.
I can't
go to Chelsea, where it's difficult, and if you mess up in the Prem, you get slated. And you not saying your career's over, but it's a pretty bad black patch on your career.
I think in terms of pressure and that kind of thing, it's certainly not easy over at AC Milan. Like their fans are. Yeah, there was a point. Evil. There was a point where he like kind of similar to this, where he seemed like he was going to leave and he was demanding a lot of money, and their fans chucked money onto the pitch.
Fake money, right? Yeah.
And at this point, this is like a 19-year-old kid. At this point,
I'm gonna say you can't really use pressure against Donnarumma. I mean, he was 16, nearly 17.
Yeah,
or 17
he's
on a big stage.
21 years old.
He doesn't feel pressure.
200 first team appearances for AC Milan.
That's crazy, man.
If
you come to the Prem, that happens though. You get pressured no matter what. Everyone can get it. Youngsters will get it. If Phil Foden stopped performing today, he'd get pressured. If Bukayo Saka stopped performing today, he'd get pressured. It happens. That's the Premier League, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, and we've seen it this season with
it's difficult
Kai
to go
Havertz and
through.
Werner.
Yeah, they're rubbish though, and the amount of money they spend on them, like they should be rubbish. So obviously,
it's their first season in the Prem. I mean, you can't. I mean.
No, because when Pepe had his first season in the Prem, everyone was slating him, and that's
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying slating him, but I'm saying that you got to give him time. I mean, arguably one of the greatest players in the Premier League had a dreadful first season. Thierry Henry.
You can't spend that much money to just give him time.
Thierry Henry was he had a dreadful first season in the Prem.
He didn't have a dreadful first season.
It wasn't great.
As good. Pepe had a better first season than Thierry Henry's first season, granted, but we also didn't spend 72 million on Thierry Henry or equivalents in that day and age.
I mean, not being funny, we didn't in the grand scheme of money and how much it costs. I mean, fair enough, not Ziyech, Havertz, but 50 mil for a striker isn't that much anymore. That's
but when you spend 50 million pounds, regardless for anybody, you expect them to
Wolves spent 35 on. Didn't Wolves spend 35 on Fabio Silva?
But he's 18 and you expect... We knew...
That's 50 mil difference.
We knew from the jump, we knew from the beginning that Fabio Silva wasn't going to be starting. We knew that he was a highly touted prospect. Not everyone. A lot of the niche football fans knew about Fabio Silva already. I knew about him because I play Football Manager, same as Sam. So we knew about him. But in terms of Timo Werner, Fabio Silva wasn't tearing up the Premier League, whereas Timo Werner was, and we expected him to be doing the same thing at Chelsea, and that's why he spent £50 million. He spent the money, he's come in, and in the last 12 games now, he hasn't scored in all competitions. Does that sound like a £50 million
out of
player
position? Yeah, I mean,
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
Kind of does
because
matter.
He's played there in the Bundesliga as well, and he scored goals. And he's come here and he hasn't.
Playing on the wing is completely different in the Bundesliga than playing.
But he's come here and he hasn't done it.
You can't compare the two.
He's still come and he's done absolutely nothing.
Okay. I mean, he's got 4 goals and 4 assists. I wouldn't say that's nothing.
Wow, whoop-de-doo. Great.
On the wing.
8 goal contributions. All right, cool.
From playing in a different position to what he's used to.
Just overthinking it. Either way,
Jacob,
he hasn't been
have you got any Arsenal transfer rumours for us?
I do have some Arsenal transfer rumours for you. I surely should have said that first because this is a podcast. There's Buendia who's really close to joining. Now, before King Smith Rowe had come in, I was really excited for Buendia to come in because we needed creativity so bad. Everyone knows we've been drowning in terms of how we were in the league because we had no goals coming in. No one was was creative at all. There was no creativity, just sideways. I think the best way to acknowledge the fact how bad we were was Kolasinac. I said this in the last podcast. He just looked at, I think it was Saka, and then they just did a sideways pass instead of like passing it forward to him. So clearly there was things missing. It was Balogun, sorry. But now that Smith Rowe is here and he's been doing the madness in number 10, it's a bit sticky. Do you know what I mean? Like Buendia looks good. He's very good in the championship. He's tearing it up. But
so what signings do you think you need to make, or are you telling me that you've got a fully complete team?
No, I'm not saying that. But like, we don't need an out number 10 anymore. We need number 8.
No, I'm not.
I don't think Buendia's a number 10, and I don't think you'd sign him as a number 10. He's a right midfielder. Plays out on the right usually.
Yeah, but at Norwich he's playing. He does. At Norwich he plays in the middle.
Not most of the time. Certainly in the Prem, he was playing off the right and coming inside.
Well, then we definitely don't need him because you've got Saka there now. He's tearing it up.
But there's nothing wrong with having another player there. He's not like he's going to cost you 50, 60 million.
And it's like 20 odd, wouldn't it? So,
it's another player to bring in to have in your team who's very good and he's very creative. And, at the end of the day, you can't just have a starting 11. And you also, as much as I like Smith Rowe, and I was calling for him before he came into starting 11, I said you should probably give Smith Rowe a chance. And here you go, he's performing well, but you can't necessarily rely on him week in, week out for all the time because he is still very young and he's got very little experience. So I think I don't see how it would be a mistake to bring in Buendia for 25 million and he'd be another person to have there who's got quality, proven quality in the Premier League, and he's got experience, and he provides something that you still very much need, which is creativity.
Yeah, so now that you said that, I think helps with the squad depth because Willian is a dead baller.
Exactly.
He's great.
You don't want to be bringing Willian off the bench when you need goals.
Yeah, exactly. Pepe still hasn't got into the Premier League. I still think he will. He just needs some time. He has some flashes of brilliance this season, but he's obviously had less minutes needed last season. He's past his sell. How can you say he's past his sell-by date? We signed him last season. This is why I don't listen to you anymore. How are you allowed to speak? Wait.
If you're going off that, right, how can you say that Timo Werner's
You're not allowed to speak now, though. Sorry, it's my turn. You're not allowed to speak.
He's only had a season in the Prem, but Timo Werner, he's had like 15 games, now he's trash.
Don't speak about my winger. I'm not finished. Anyway,
get off it.
Second of all, I wasn't finished. So, first, you see, just get in my head now. Why are you even speaking? In terms of midfield, we need, if we're going to talk about like a number 8, then there's Awa, who we're not going to get in January. I'm just not even going to be optimistic. We're not going to get the money, and I can't see although they have loads of major money problems because of like Telefoot scandal and that, I don't think they're going to part ways with him yet. I think...
Particularly at the moment, similarly with AC Milan, they're challenging for a title right now. They're above PSG.
Yeah, they are. They are, actually. That's the thing. I don't think I was going to want to leave that for some people who are joint 4th in the league with like 15 other clubs. You'll get paid, but then I think the problem is as well, on the flip side, is if we don't sign him in January, there's going to be too many other opponents to sign him in the summer because they've got no money. Real Madrid and Barcelona and PSG, they all know this. And so they're going to go out of their way to maybe try even harder to sign him. And then we might be in trouble. And then it comes to who do we get instead? Because I don't know any replacements. We got Partey, who we wanted, who's going to basically be a new signing when he comes next in a couple of weeks. And other than that, there's not really been much talk about any more players. We might re-sign Ozil or re-put him in, and then sell a bunch of players. They got rid of Kolasinac. There's rumours of Mustafi going. We need to get rid of all this deadwood, honestly.
Yeah, you've got quite a few players whose contracts are expiring on you, like you said, Mustafi and Socrates, and Kolasinac has gone back to Schalke, where I'm sure he'll save their season.
They're doing so bad right now. They're like relegation. They're like 19th, right?
If there was a 19th place in the Bundesliga, they'd probably be there.
Oh my god! So bad.
I don't think they've won a league game this year. They're in a similar situation to Sheffield United, where they just cannot win.
Can't win games. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looked so good last season as well.
Well, the first half of last season they were challenging for Champions League spots, and then I think they've won one game this year, and that was on about like 3rd or 4th of January, 2020, and then they didn't win for the whole rest of 2020.
Sad. Obviously, I think a new signing no one seems to be talking about as well. Arsenal is not a new signing, but like someone who's been there who looks really good as well. Matteo Guendouzi has looked really good at Berlin. He scored the other day, I think yesterday. Scored a sick goal. Oh my! You haven't seen that goal? It was so good. I want to see him back. I know, obviously, if we don't get Aouar, and if he can sort his attitude out, I'd love to see Guendouzi get back in the squad and just like do something again, because he did look really good as well last season.
Yeah.
Before obviously he had that whole Mopé, and I still hate him. Hope he gets relegated. Mopé, you're a cheat, and I hope Brian get relegated. Yeah, Matteo Guendouzi looks great, but that's basically it for Arsenal. There's nothing really going to happen now, I don't think.
I did notice a rumour. It might have been, it might have gone under the radar a bit, but I did notice something linking you to Julian Brandt from Dortmund.
Oh yeah, I knew that as well. I didn't say I forgot
quite
about
a similar one to Buendia, and I couldn't see you signing both of them. And Buendia seems the more likely one at the moment. But Julian Brandt, very good player. Again,
I like Brandt, 100%.
Very creative. And
we have a good relationship with Dortmund, so I feel like we do good at getting him.
See, if you sign Brandt, that could be more of like he could play in a deeper midfield role. He could play as your number 8. He's done it before, and he's done it at Leverkusen, he's done it at Dortmund, so he's experienced in that role. So maybe you could bring in Buendia and Brandt, and you could
not in January though.
No, not necessarily in January. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a pretty interesting one because I really like Julian Brandt. He hasn't got so many minutes this season because Jude Bellingham has emerged. But
honestly, I don't see us getting Brandt. I don't think we'll get him. I like that prospect of us getting him, but with knowing my club, I feel like it'd just be like another Benzema or Draxler. We'll just say we're going to sign him, then we never do.
I mean, going back to Chelsea, as I like to do, there is one more.
About your own club.
There is one more transfer bit of news that came through recently that we are looking at. I'm going to butcher this name so much. Mohamed Simakan.
No, it's pretty much spot on pronunciation.
He is a Ligue 1
Strasbourg, I believe.
Yeah, that's the one. Strasbourg centre back to come in and either replace Thiago Silva or be like another young.
How long is the Thiago Silva contract? Is it a year or 2?
Is a year with an option to extend.
That's Chelsea's policy, isn't it? Players over 30 only get 1 year contract.
Yeah, and then they have to extend. They've got an option to extend it afterwards, which I think we'll probably extend it for another year, and then I reckon that'll be it.
Yeah, probably.
And then we'll bring in.
He can also cover a right back as well. He's played at right back a fair bit.
So we're on about Thiago Silva then.
I was going to say,
not Thiago Silva. No. Yeah, Simakan, he's quite athletic,
he can play right back.
and he can cover right back as well as playing centre back. He's been linked to AC Milan in the past, and he looks like a very good player.
Yeah, it's been targeted by AC Milan, Burnley, Tottenham, and West Ham.
Burnley in there, sneaking in there.
Big scrap against Burnley. I think he'll struggle to fight Burnley for this guy's signature.
But he's I can't even talk today. He's valued at about 13.5 mil.
Pretty cheap.
Which could be a class signing for us because if Reece James is out playing right back. So yeah, he's been one to watch in Ligue 1 at the minute. So that's another one that we could do. But the thing is with Chelsea, we've got so many young centre backs that could come through. I mean, we've got Tamori. Christensen's already gone. We've got Mboyamba that's just came through. We've got Malang Sarr.
Yeah, Malang Sarr.
As well. So
oh yeah, forgot about that, Don. I remember we should have tried to get him as well. But is he doing any good at wherever he is? Like Porto?
He's loaned out somewhere. I don't know where.
I think it's Porto, isn't it?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Has he been any good?
I'm not going to lie, I haven't actually really been paying attention to him.
Because why would you know anything about your dead club?
Oh, yeah, sure. I don't think he was playing originally to start off with, and then he got into the team, and he's been all right. But I don't think Porto have been doing that well this season.
No one in the Premier League has been doing any good. Benfica have been terrible as well, so everyone's just rubbish. I wouldn't be surprised if Rio win.
It'd be a bit of a strange one for us to go for this centre-back, knowing that we've got Malang Sarr, Tamori and Mboyamba.
What's going on with Tamori? Because he hasn't played a minute of Premier League football.
There's talks on him going out on loan to Newcastle. He's got to go on loan. He's not going to get minutes.
He's meant to go on to like West Ham like deadline day, and he said no.
Yeah, he didn't want to go, which I can understand why, because he was getting minutes last season, but clearly Lampard's gone, nah, you either sit here and do nothing, or you go out on loan.
I bet he wishes he went now, because they've been sick this season.
Yeah, I think he'll get, he's not, he makes too many silly mistakes. Centre-back is a role for experienced players, isn't it really? So
you can play him as a fullback, he can play another fullback though, right?
Yeah, he's rapid though. It'd be a great centre-back to have once he understands positioning and takes all those little mistakes out. But yeah, he needs to go out on loan for a Premier League team. A bit like what some of our players are doing at the minute with Loftus-Cheek. He's trying to, I think he's just got injured again, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But he was finding his feet again at, where is he? Fulham, yeah. And Conor Gallagher at West Brom is showing what he can do in the Prem. Which, to be fair to me, I think he's West Brom's best player at the minute.
Yeah, he has been really good at West Brom.
I don't see any other candidates there. I mean, they're awful. Maybe Sam Johnson in goal, but...
Yeah, but he's been the best player out of the worst. He's like the best of the time, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think the problem is how do you... The problem I have with sending people out on loan to a team that's most likely going to get relegated is how do you, is it literally just for experience at the Prem? Like, it's not a good experience if that's the case, if they're constantly losing.
It's kind of like Harry Wilson, isn't it? Like when he went.
Like Harry Wilson played well at Bournemouth, didn't he? And there's plenty of players who have. It's partly just kind of certainly if you're young and inexperienced, getting up to speed with the play in the Premier League and the physicality.
Yeah, I suppose. The only way I can
how teams play must be very helpful.
Yeah, I mean the only way I can see it working for them is if they are literally the outstanding player playing miles ahead of everyone else, and then you kind of go, actually, we should probably bring him back. But other than that, Chelsea aren't going to go, he's just been in a team that's just got relegated. Let's just bring him into our starting 11.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for you, does it? Like again with Harry Wilson, like when he got relegated, in my head I would have thought like that's really bad for your career because now your employers don't think you're a good player. They're not watching you week in, week out, are they? So it's not a good look for you.
But the other thing is, I've also always thought if you're in a team, so say if any of us, let's just say we're professional footballers, we're far from it, but let's just go with that. If I went to a club that by the last 10 games know that for a fact they're getting relegated, I'm like, sorry, I'm not part of this team anymore. I'll just play however the heck I want. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have as much drive as a team. Surely you don't have as much drive for a team that you actually play for, if that makes sense, than are on loan to. Especially when your club that you're from is a top six. You kind of... Do you not reckon they have that mentality of, I play for a big six?
Yeah, you sort of like complacency. Is what you're trying to say.
So, but yeah, no, it's interesting.
Yeah, but I think that's what we're gonna call it a night for the After Podcast.
Yep.
Transfer rumors flying. It's this. I mean, it's open. It's the most fun time of the season, isn't it? Really.
Silly season is back.
Yeah.
Expect long podcasts.
Oh God, you've been here for over an hour now. But hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe down below. Definitely do that. Or I'll punch your mum in the face. Thank you.
Jacob's views.
We do not endorse. We do not endorse physical violence.
I'll see you there.
Against mothers.
All right.
So, yeah.
Peace.
Right.